Wow, man. If you guys are out there training, you should probably quit when you get tired. So I've got a question here. I'm going to read it. Random question of your opinion on round count. I bought my first 2011 about 2 years ago. People like to give you a bunch of extraneous information. So I'm going to read the extraneous information and get to the actual question. I bought my first 2011 2 years ago, and it was a Staccato P. I quickly moved on to an XC. Recently purchased an Atlas Erebus, and I noticed these types of firearms just shoot so amazingly. It's so amazing. So amazingly that I find myself not wanting to leave the range and typically run through 500 to 1,000 rounds, depending on how long I stay. Probably not a lot to you. No, I'll shoot 1,000 rounds in a day, but if that's not nothing. That's kind of a lot. But I noticed when I'm on the range for more than 6 hours and hundreds of rounds later, I feel like my shooting starts to go to shit. Now, when you say 1,000 rounds, 500 rounds, I don't blink. I don't even blink. 1,000 rounds, it's like, okay, that's a lot. In one day practice session as an individual, that's a lot. But when you say 6 hours, it's like, what are you talking about? 6 hours? What is it? That's like, that makes my eyes bug out. For a lot of reasons. 6 hours as an individual, one day of training, that's not sustainable, really. It's I can't do that easily 5 days a week. I could do it, but it's that's going to be the only thing I'm doing, really. Anyway, I still feel like my shooting starts to go to shit. Maybe my body is fatigued. Not sure, but this is something you experienced. And do you think there's a limit of rounds for a good day of training, or is it just me being out of shape? No, 6 hours is a lot. And for anybody. Let me give you an example. I was at one of the a high speed type of military unit a few months ago. And these guys, there's a very rigorous selection process, really tough physical standards, guys that like to train, blah, 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 blah. That whole thing. I remember setting up dynamic shooting drills one morning. It was a week-long thing, but one of the mornings I set up, they're hey, we want dynamic shooting, a lot of moving. I'm like, cool. So I set up some dynamic shooting stuff, the type of stuff that I would practice on. And the guys went at it hard. After 90 minutes, they cut the training, went to lunch, and came back out. It was a hours-long break, at, whatever. Why? Because when you start to fatigue, you're not getting that much out of the training. And it's the way, and also the other part of that is when you're training, you want to be really, really aggressive. You want it to be at game day speed or even faster. You train at a faster than real life pace in order. So when, you're shooting with high accountability, you're going to do really, really well. And it's these guys are experienced at practicing and training. So it's when they got to the point of they're starting to fatigue, they're not doing well at the reps, whatever, just cut the training, come back later and get back at it. People who practice a lot, any type of skill, you're not doing this. You're not going to be out there for 6 hours. Yeah, of course you're going to be fatigued. To me, as soon as you start getting a little bit tired or you're a little bit dehydrated, your brain's not functioning at 100% and you start making those little mental errors and things like that, cut the training and pick it up again the next day. People should not be, you do what you want, but I wouldn't be out there for 6 hours. To me, it's I would be fatigued, very fatigued because of the aggression level I want to bring to the training. And I would also be bored because 6 hours and 1,000 rounds doesn't really play nicely together when I'm training with a handgun. It's going to be those numbers just don't play together. It wouldn't be anything like that. So it's no, you're not fatigued or whatever. There's nothing wrong with the guy asking the question. The problem isn't that the problem is that the way you're structuring the session and what your expectations of yourself are. It's nobody's going to be in it for 6 hours. This is actually a big problem when guys go to matches too. It's because you have to be kind of keyed in and paying attention over a longer day. And that's where if I'm at a match, when I'm doing that, it's been a while, but at a match, it's hey, be out there, help reset, and then go do your part to help, but make sure you're sitting down, resting your legs. Because a lot of times you're keyed up and kind of pacing around and stuff, and you're just burning energy for nothing. Where you're going to do your best if you're not in any way fatigued or tired. So that's interesting. When you start getting tired, cut the training. Most people, people are not out there for 6 hours training. Like, that's not as helpful as just going out there for like 90 minutes and being very, very present and very aggressive with your training.